That's right. For this week's main topic, we recently visited the Walt Disney World Resort in the middle of September for a little bit of an adventure to take part in food and wine and check out Bay Lake Towers again and do some other fun things. And we're here to share that all with you today, right, Michelle?
Yeah. It was a celebration of Scott's birthday, a little belated, but worked out. And it was also, like you said, a chance that we could sample some things, and we're looking forward to revealing our reviews about stuff.
Yes, we did get out to food and wine. This was the first time we'd visit Bay Lake Towers since, well, I should say it's the first time we've been in a one-bedroom suite at Bay Lake Towers since they've done the refurbishment. We had done the deluxe studio and saw what that's all about and enjoyed that. This was our first chance to see the actual one-bedroom suite, and we're going to talk about that as well. So this all started on Friday, September 12th, 2025. Michelle and Scott decided they didn't have to work that day. They didn't have to go to the program that day. We're going to head out early and start getting stuff set up. I had to work that day, but you went out early, Michelle, and kind of, checked out, got a little bit of stuff fun around the Disney resorts out of the way, and then also got us all set up at our new room at Bay Lake Towers, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, we knew that by the time you were finished work and were going to be able to join us over at the park, that it was going to be quite late. So we thought, let's get there and try to get some things set up. Also wanted to make sure we get Scott on the monorail and get that handled before it got too late. So we did that. And I mean, he was smiling from ear to ear. I know that that's a common term, but I swear he looked like that. I mean, he was just so full of joy being able to go on that. And then going into Bay Lake Tower, as you said, first time seeing the refurb of the one bedroom. And I'm never always sure how Scott's going to feel about changes. But I think because the structure of the room was pretty much the same as it had been, and he loves being able to see the monorail, sit out either outside on the patio or by the floor to ceiling windows and watch the monorail. Definitely made him really happy.
Yeah, we were really happy. I arrived later that evening and got there. Luckily, like I said, Michelle, Scott had set everything up. So, I was just able to get in and settle in and take in what is Bay Lake Towers, the one bedrooms. Now, if you don't know, recently it's been refurbished. All the rooms have been refurbished. It's been in stages. So they've had parts of it open, parts of it closed off. I believe they finally have completed the refurbishments, or at least they're very close if they're not done right now. But this was our first bedroom. We visited a couple times and have stayed in the deluxe studios and enjoyed that. We thought the refurbishments were, for the most part, very, very good. This was the first time we got to get in and actually see the one bedroom suites, as I already mentioned. And while most of the layout is primarily the same, there are a couple changes. The artwork, I think, is what struck us originally when we got in as being fantastic, right, Michelle?
Yes. Bringing in the color scheme and the artwork, it's very Mary Blair inspired. But what was really cool about this artwork is that each piece throughout the various rooms really showcased a different land at the Magic Kingdom. And it's done so beautifully. Like I said, if you're a fan of Mary Blair, it has that kind of styling to it. But every room had that. And even like the pull-out bed had, one on the outside where it's like the wall, and you pull the bed down, the Murphy bed down, and inside is another view. They also have a smaller bed that's kind of by the main TV, that same kind of thing. The outer part of that was like think of like a pencil drawing in gold of the contemporary resort and the monorail. It was just really cool. And then you open it up and there was the electrical parade image inside that. So, I mean, a lot of great artwork, with pictures, historic pictures that were very touching as well. I think you noticed those.
Yeah. So, Mary Blair inspired for sure. It's not Mary Blair, but it
Right.
definitely, you can tell the artist who created these, and I believe it's the same artist who's done all of these pieces, and they're brilliant. They're fantastic. They're so full of color, so full of life, and they reference the lands throughout, as Michelle mentioned. I mean, you'll know, like, you're in Frontierland, you're in Fantasyland. You're walking down Main Street, USA. You're looking at the castle. You can see it all, and it's all there. And yes, this was one. If you're for those of you watching this on YouTube, this is one that is over the Murphy bed right now, and it is the castle with a little Mickey and Minnie there. And then if he opens up, it transitions into night, and there is Space Mountain, so you get Tomorrowland there as well. I think that's the only place that specifically is Tomorrowland that I can think of. The other smaller bed, as Michelle mentioned, has that really gold inlet of the Contemporary and the monorail. And then, yes, you open it up and it's brilliant. If you love the Main Street Electrical Parade, well, there it is. The key elements of the Main Street Electrical Parade are right there again in the same artwork, and it just all meshes really, really amazingly together. I couldn't have been more impressed with the artwork there.
Yeah, I mean, a couple things I was thinking about it is, one, these art pieces are large. They're not like tiny. So you really get to see the piece of art really nicely. The other thing is, one of the things, and this was a criticism, I think, early on with Disney Vacation Club, is when you were at some of those resorts, yes, they were on property and you had easy access to the parks, etc. But sometimes they were a little sterile and didn't necessarily shout out Disney. This shouted out. You knew you were at a Disney resort, no question about it. It was in every room. Some rooms had multiple pictures. They were bright and brilliant. They changed some of the carpeting to have that same color scheme. It just all meshed together so nicely, but really made you feel special that you're at a Disney resort.
Yeah, I think it's been more recently that they've decided to make that change. And we heard about this when we were lucky enough to visit the Walt Disney Animation Studios. They told us that they've been more working with the Imagineers, with the people at DVC, to try and bring more of this animation, this artwork to these resorts. And I think we've seen it at the villas at Disneyland, at the new Island Tower, at the Polynesian, and then now at the refurbishment here, and also over at the cabins as well. The refurbishment of the cabins, or the changeover to DVC cabins, and then the refurbishment here at Bay Lake Towers. It's really coming through. You are at Disney. You're at Disney. Now, for some people, you may prefer not to feel that way, but I feel that most people do want to know that they're at Disney and still have the comforts that you enjoy. And I think this shouts that. It is comfortable. It's wonderful. The Bay Lake Tower suites are still our favorite suites on any of the Walt Disney World, any of the DVC properties. We love it. And they just enhanced it with this amazing, amazing artwork, Michelle.
Yeah, and it just really makes sense to have everything be Magic Kingdom, because it is one of the resorts that are on the Magic Kingdom monorail loop. And so tying that in nicely really just fits that theming. And like you mentioned, the other ones tie in the theming related to where their locations are. And so it is really nice that these touches are added. I think they also added some nice features, like, and that one has a table, and I like the way they have a table now. It's a sleeker look. It fits more the theme of the Contemporary. So I just think they did a great job planning that space.
Yeah. The only strikes I would say against this is still the same strikes that I said with the deluxe studio, is that the television. I mean, I know for Scott, it's good because Michelle put on that safety video with Timon and Pumbaa that plays nonstop on a loop, and he loves that, and will just settle down and enjoy watching that. Which you can't find. You can find it on demand on the other television.
Yeah, but you have to pick each one.
Right, you can't just have it playing on a loop. But as far as everything else, I like the TVs where you can stream things, put on. You can connect to Disney Plus. The guide's a little bit, it doesn't have that scrolling guide that you have to wait around. It's like, oh, I just missed those channels.
Right.
Now I got to wait for, 2 minutes until it comes around again
Right.
to see what's on, or you need to actually go through all the channels and find it. I like where you have that selection opportunity. So, I mean, very minor strikes against it, but that's what I would say are my issues. And I'm surprised they didn't change that TV, but I think it has to do for some reason because we were also having some issues with the Wi-Fi there. And I think maybe with the way this building is created, and I don't really know anything about it, but the fact that the Wi-Fi struggles at times there, I wonder if that's the reason they had to keep it as it is, keep it kind of more of a cable rather than a connection to streaming, because they do have struggles with that there.
True.
I don't know, but that's my only reasoning I can think why, when they've changed everything else over, why they haven't changed those over.
Right. A couple other things we notice is one, they replaced the bathtub. It is a very long, luxurious bathtub. That is still the feature that they have, but it's not the one with bubble jets. They used to also have these like a sliding partition between the main bathroom and the main bedroom, and it was kind of fun sometimes if you were just sitting there and having the bubble bath and looking out, you could see straight outside if you had those shutters open. So that's been replaced now with a solid wall. It kind of makes sense. I get it. I think those wooden things probably suffer from a lot of wear and tear, and hard to continually keep those updated, but it has a great look. Again, it's the bathtub. It's not like a tiny bathtub. If you are a person who likes taking baths, it's very spacious.
Yeah, the bathroom is very spacious. The bedroom's a good amount of space. Again, Bay Lake Towers, the living rooms, because of the way that this shape is, that it opens up and is a little more narrow and it widens and going out with the curve of Bay Lake Towers, you get such this, it's like if you have people over, if you're coming in and having people over to your suite, this is the space for you, because there's lots of room for people there. It's great. I love Bay Lake Towers suites.
Yeah. Interesting too. They changed the lobby out from just 2 weeks before. They've removed, like, there was a like what would look like a check-in desk. They've removed that and just have seating in that area. They still have like a bell service desk and another desk that used to be more type of concierge, type of, but they can handle it. But there's mainly, you're greeted if you do need some assistance with your room or whatever. They have people there with handheld tablets that they can help you with in that regards.
Again, something I think we're seeing more with the DVC resorts that they're going to. I think the Riviera was the first time we saw this. We saw this over at the villas at Disneyland. And now, it had already been the desk there. It had always been the desk there. And it was even just a couple weeks ago, like you said, when we were there. Now, suddenly they've taken that out. And now kind of the guest services people are more free flowing through the lobby and giving you more space in there for you to sit and relax. And if you're checking in with them, I think they found also that people don't use the check-in services as much. So there's no real reason to take up the lobby space, which is actually a fairly small lobby space, up with more desks, when it can be, people can sit and enjoy. And if they do need help, the guest services people are still there to, accommodate you.
Right. I know that this time when Scott and I arriving there early, come early afternoon, there were a lot of rooms not ready yet. And so that lobby actually was packed with people sitting. So I think that was a really smart move to have that, because then you're not standing outside in the heat. You don't feel like you have to be continually walking around if you don't want to. It's a nice, comfortable place. And then as soon as, you get that prompt that your room is ready, you can just head on up.
Yeah. So we ended up getting there, having dinner, having a nice evening, crashing out for the night, which was good. Getting up the next morning, and we were making plans to get out to Food and Wine. Oh, but wait a minute. There were no reservations available for EPCOT. A couple rookies on a Saturday near the beginning of Food and Wine. We decided we forgot to make our park reservation, because we're used to make we're going to go. Let's make a park reservation. We forgot. So, and there were none. It was done. Which should have been indicative of what the day was going to hold. But, whatever. We had made plans. We decided, okay, let's pivot and let's go ahead and head over to Magic Kingdom instead. It's right there, right next to Bay Lake Towers. We can walk in, and the first thing we wanted to do was to check out, because one, is one of Scott's favorite attractions, but because there's also something new going on there. is we wanted to check out It's a Small World just so Scott can enjoy it, but also so we can hear the last verse for the
Right.
first time that's been added. We had not gotten out. It's only been, what? It's been a month, 2 months
Right.
since July.
Yeah,
It's been
since July.
mid-July that it came out. We did not have our opportunity to go over there, but I guess we could have done it during the Halloween party, but we
Right.
were doing other things,
Right.
so we didn't do it there. So this was our first opportunity. Michelle, what were your thoughts on getting to hear the last verse for the first time?
Well, I was really excited to hear the last verse. I think it's such a subtle change that probably a lot of people don't realize that. I don't think it's very loud and noticeable that you hear that. But it was really touching. I thought that was really sweet that they had it, and I was glad we were able to try that out.
Yeah, I agree with you. You can, if you don't know it exists, I doubt you pick it out
Mhm.
of the usual "It's a Small World" song. Especially if you don't know the Small World song, which who doesn't? It gets stuck in your head. But if you don't know it really well, or if you're not paying attention or don't know this exists, then yeah, it's probably going to just go right by you.
Mhm.
But when you know, it's
I was just going to say
you
the
know,
same thing. If you know, you know.
it's there and you can hear it, and it is beautiful, and it's such a wonderful sentiment, especially nowadays. It's an amazing sentiment,
Right.
and I'm so glad it exists, and I can't wait to experience it more.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, so that was nice, and it was great to do that. So then our plan was, yes, we could park hop over to Epcot. So next stop on the morning, once we did that, got that done, coerce Scott that we'll have some good things ahead of him to go to Epcot. So we hopped on the monorail. Another way to coerce him, because anytime you want to ride on the monorail, he's all on board with that, literally. Then it was over to Epcot to get a little piece of the Epcot International Food and Wine Festival. And part of the ways we coerced him into going is telling him, hey, there's going to be a milkshake for you once you get there. So we beelined right over to Sunshine Seasons and picked up the Remy milkshake, which is a strawberry cheesecake milkshake topped with a cookie, a mini cheesecake, a white chocolate Eiffel Tower, and a strawberry. I don't know if I remember the strawberry.
Yeah, the strawberry was
Yeah.
it, yeah.
But we shared a shake, and Scott got a shake. And for those of you seeing this on YouTube, you can see his big smile at this shake. What did you think about this Remy milkshake, Michelle?
It was really, really great. First of all, the picture, if you're watching on YouTube, we did take the cookie off so that for both of
And the
our shakes,
cheesecake.
and yeah,
And the white chocolate Eiffel Tower.
yeah, everything was stuck on there with some whipped cream. But yeah, we took that off to be able to just enjoy the shake. I thought it was very nice flavor. It really was great to be able on a hot day have that. Was very refreshing. And then actually the cookie and the cookie was awesome flavor. The cookie
We had the cheesecake and the cookie later.
yeah. But that cookie is really great, and the cheesecake was pretty good. But it just looked beautiful. It just very impressive looking.
Yeah, so the cheesecake actually looks like a little wheel of cheese.
Right.
And that's how they've made it shaped out to look, and it's cute. So the shake itself, it's a strawberry cheesecake milkshake. I don't know if I would have said, okay, I really definitely feel it's cheesecake,
Right.
but it is a nice creamy strawberry milkshake, a little sweet, but I did enjoy it very, very much. Like I said, we took the cheesecake and the cookie and everything else back to our room. We enjoyed that later in the day because we didn't need that on this trend of putting all this crazy stuff on milkshakes, whatever. We can enjoy them later, and we did. I agree. The cookie is a shortbread cookie, very delicious. Cheesecake, it was all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah, it wasn't
cheesecake.
bad.
It was
just
flavorful.
it just
It
wasn't.
wasn't the greatest cheesecake
Right,
I've ever
right.
had, but it was cute, and it was not bad.
Yeah. We got this at the Sunshine Seasons. It's located in the land. Surprisingly, there wasn't a line there where everything else had a line, but maybe because it was in there that not as many people are going there to eat anyways. It didn't take long for them to actually serve this up. They don't have mobile ordering, but that wasn't an issue at all. Like I said, no line.
Yeah, you got one, and then we took a taste of it, before we gave it to Scott. We're like,
Right.
okay, yeah, let's get another one for us. And then you went back and still were able to get another one for us. And Scott had only just barely finished his, I mean, he powered through it, but he
Yeah.
had only just barely finished it. So
Right.
it wasn't like it was a super long time that it took for
Right.
us to get
Yeah.
there.
So it was super easy, but that is, one of the festival surprise shakes, or not surprise, but special shakes. And like I said, that you have to go into the land, but no problem there.
Yeah, that was good. And it's not cheap. But it's tasty
No, it's
and
not cheap.
recommended. They're very good. So from there, we decided to journey out, not too far away, just kind of in between the Imagination Pavilion and when you get to World Showcase Lagoon, and stop by Bramblewood Bites to pick up some more real food there. When we went there, the line was long, but not as
bad.
terrible as we've seen for other places. And there were a couple of things we wanted to try there. We wanted to get the cast iron seared river trout with vanilla butternut squash puree, Brussels sprouts, Brussels sprout salad, candy pecans, spiced pumpkin seeds, dried cranberries, and maple dressing, and the cast iron roasted Brussels sprouts and root vegetables with dried cranberries, spiced pumpkin seeds, and pumpkin seed vinaigrette. Michelle, what did you think of those two dishes?
I really enjoyed them. So first of all, I want to say, by the time we had gone to Magic Kingdom and did an attraction there and transported over there, I think part of our challenge and why we didn't go very far was it was really hot, and it was kind of like the peak time of the day to have the heat really affecting you. But stopping there, that's usually very busy. It wasn't that bad, like you said. But those dishes were great. I know Scott especially liked the trout. But I thought all of it.
Yeah, we had to fight him off with the trout. We're like, we should have gotten two of these.
Yeah.
We're like fighting they're like dueling with forks to try and get our pieces of the trout from him.
But it was good. I thought all the flavors went well together, and having both dishes was nice and complimentary. The one thing I would say about the Brussels sprouts is I don't know if they didn't cut it or core it correctly, but some parts were really hard that they weren't as enjoyable to eat or chew.
Yeah. I agree with you on all those points. The trout was amazing, beautiful, wonderful. If you like trout, if you like seafood, it is really, really good. I really, really enjoyed that dish. No, we also got a Pinot Noir.
Yeah,
I think
the gogi.
Yeah, gogi Pinot Noir, which is anytime you can get gogi wine, do it. It's great.
Yeah.
That was great too. And then the Brussels sprouts, the flavoring was amazing. It was really, really good. Like you said, though, and I pointed this out, I felt like you said something was wrong with the Brussels sprouts. I think that the trimming of it, they left a little too much stem, which I'm not a huge fan of. But they're a little more bitter. But more than anything else, like you said, it didn't cook evenly. You're trying to cook these, kind of get a sear on them, char on them in the cast iron. This leaves the stem a little bit more woody. Because it doesn't cook through as well. And so, yeah, when you got to that part, it was a little bit chewier, a little bit harder to get through. Here's what I don't think they'll do this ever, but one, they should trim it a little better. But if you ever want to do Brussels sprouts really well, what I'll always tell you is make a little V in the stem. So it still holds on to all those leaves, but you cut out the meatier part of the stem and it'll cook more evenly for you. That's my little trick for cooking Brussels sprouts. But the flavor was on point. And again, what I'll also say about every single dish, whether it's good, whether it's bad, what we think about on this, at any of these festival booths, any given day, things can change. Some days it could be a little bit over seasoned. Some days it could be a little bit under seasoned. It's overcooked, undercooked. There are different staffs cooking these things every single day. So what is one day might not necessarily meet the same standards the next day. Disney tries to make it even out as much as possible, but it's not really a possibility when you're working with as many different people and as many different dishes as they are across the parks.
Yeah, agreed. 100%. Yeah.
But I think we were off to a good start here.
Yeah.
These were very, very good dishes. So we were already seeing how busy it was there. And we knew this when we saw that the reservations were gone. This could be trouble. But we're going to try and make the best of it, get as much as we can into it. So we decided, you know what? We're going to go over to another place because we didn't know, as busy as it was, if we were going to get to everything. We saw the line over in Mexico, which we really wanted to get to, way too long.
Yes.
There was no way we're going to get to that. So let's take the Friendship boat. Originally thought we were going to Morocco and we were going to go over to the American Adventure Pavilion from there. But what we found out was that they've actually made some changes. They're refurbishing or doing some work on the Morocco. So
The dock.
yes, the dock there. So for the first time in a long time, we actually took the boat over to Germany. We had not been to the Germany dock in I don't know how long. It's
Yeah,
been years. It's definitely since before the pandemic.
Right.
It was fun that they actually get dropped off in Germany,
Yeah,
Michelle.
yeah. And I think I had mentioned to you when she was saying we're going to Germany. I thought she was joking at
Right.
first. I thought, oh, is she trying to trick us, And then she's like, no, we're going to Germany. And
Well,
that's when she told us about the dock being repaired.
right. I asked her if we were going to hit both docks out because I remember you being able to do that. You said you think it was going to one or the other, which I recall that it used to be kind of a roundabout way of going through all three, kind of like a bus stop, a boat stop, stop at one, stop at the other one, come back to but whatever way it is, I thought maybe there might be both. But since you said Morocco's getting refurbished, I get it. I hope they keep Germany in play.
Yeah.
Because I think that's a better option, or at least it's nice to have a couple different options.
Right.
I'd love to see them go back to or pivot to either going to both, or whether it's a circle, full circle, or going back and forth to either one. Either way, I'd love to see that happen. But anyway, we got off in Germany, which is good because we wanted to see possibly if we could get something in Spain too, because we heard good things, thought about Spain. Line was way too long at Spain.
It was crazy.
The line was way too long. The line was super long at Germany. It was super long at Spain. We avoided Italy because we're always disappointed with Italy. I'm always hoping for better things because it looks like it'll be good. We just with the line there and the fact that it may be a miss, we didn't go there, but we did get to where we wanted to go originally, and that was over to the Flavors of America booth over at the American Adventure, and we picked up there the Gulf Coast style seafood roll with warm water, lobster, rock shrimp, lobster bisque, and sherry creme fraiche on a toasted brioche bun, and the New York slider with slow braised beef pot roast with spicy giardiniera, horseradish cream, and crispy fried onions on a potato roll. And we picked up something I was very excited to try, the Playa Linda Brewing Company Pumpkin Cheesecake Blonde Stout. Michelle, what did you think of those three things?
Okay, I'll start with the lobster roll. So it is a warm water lobster roll, and being more of a traditional from being from New England, liking cold water lobster rolls, this was good. Again, I still like the lobster, so it wasn't how they were preparing.
Your North Atlantic lobster, yes.
Yes. The cold water lobster is my preference personally. But this was good. It had a nice flavor. And the bun was great too. I think I enjoyed the slider better and actually more than I expected. I really liked the flavor of that slider as well.
Pot roast slider.
Right. And surprisingly, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder here, but that beer, I had some real doubts about it because it's not a dark beer, but it was good.
Yeah. If Michelle, if the beer isn't like slowly pouring out as you pour it because it's so thick and dark and syrupy, then she's probably not going to be called to that beer. However, I was interested in this because, it's a blonde stout and, it's more of a brewing possibility, but yes, it's light. But I want to try it. But man, so sweet and refreshing and beautiful on a hot day, a very hot day out there at the park. I will go back for that beer. I'm going to say this right now. The Playa Linda Brewing Company. We need to get up there. It's only up the coast about 30 minutes.
Let's do that today.
I have not gotten a miss anytime those have been in the parks. And that's also what called this to me was like, it's Playa Linda. They've been great. I like all the pumpkin, cheesecake, stout, blonde. Okay. All that. I was like, okay, I want to try this to see if it's any good. It is really, really good. The seafood roll, the lobster roll, I thought was very, very tasty. As some of the lobster rolls suffer from, especially at Disney parks, it's a little more bread than filling, which is unfortunate, but every bite of it was really, really good. Really enjoyed it. I also really enjoyed the slider, just like you did. The pot roast was super tender. The giardiniera, you can go, if you look at the picture here, those of you watching on YouTube, you can see There's a lot of that jardiniere on there. So it's up to you on what your spice level is. If you want it a fairly spicy, then keep it all on there. For Scott, we scraped some off, most of it off, except for a piece or two.
Right.
For me, I scraped about half of it off. I think for you, I scraped most of it off.
Right.
So, but it was really, really good. I was big fans of
Mhm.
all three of these dishes out there at the Flavors of America. I'm telling you, it's become a regular thing that the American booth is one of the better booths that I think we come across in most of these festivals nowadays.
Right. And I mean, I know in general there were a lot of people there, and that's what made the lines very long. Uh, Many times you can see that the American pavilion booth is not as busy as some of the other ones, but this day it was. It was a fair,
Everything was busy that
yeah,
day.
it was a long line. It took us a while to get the food for sure, but it was definitely tasty and wonderful.
Yeah. So
So,
we enjoyed that, sat and had that. Walk from there, we started making our way around World Showcase towards Japan. Looked at Japan. Line was a bit too long. We weren't really, actually, I was a little bit disappointed with the offerings at Japan this year. So I
mhm.
wasn't looking to go to that. Went by Morocco, lines were long. Brazil, line was long. France, line was long. We're like, okay, it's crazy. You could see it everywhere. It was getting hot. It was packed. Scott, we couldn't get sunscreen on him. He was getting a little sunburned. We're like,
Yes.
okay, I guess it's time to call it a day. Let's go ahead and head back to our wonderful resort at Bay Lake Towers, right,
Yeah,
Michelle?
exactly. Yeah, there wasn't going to be that much more pleasure of trying different dishes since everything really was so crowded. And, it's like, all right, we know we're going to be here longer. Let's maybe think about doing this another time.
Well, yeah, and we knew we could get back in a couple days. If that had been our only trip that we were going to
Right,
get down to Food and Wine, we probably would have tried to tough it out a little
right,
bit more. And like I said, the main thing was the heat and the sun on Scott, trying to keep him out, and then trying to do that while waiting in line, extended lines for
right,
some of these things. It was just too busy that day. Starship was in for Eat to the Beat as
right. So I
well.
think
So
that
I
was,
think everything, an early Saturday for in the first couple of weeks of Food and Wine, Starship being there, there were just so many factors involved. And as soon as we saw that there weren't reservations available, we knew what we were in for. And yes,
mhm,
it definitely was that. Luckily, we had a wonderful resort to go back to. So
right,
that's what
right.
we did. Enjoyed the rest of the evening there, had dinner at our resort, just enjoyed our time looking out, Bay Lake, sitting on our balcony, and just having a great time on this amazing suite.
Yeah, I don't know how many hundreds of times Scott pointed out the monorail to us, but yeah, it was definitely fun. We were very fortunate. We had put in a request. We chatted with member services requesting a room that would face the monorail, and we were really fortunate to get a high room that was facing the monorail. So not only could we get great views of the monorail going through the Contemporary, but we also were able to have great views of being able to see Spaceship Earth, especially at night lit up in the different colors. And it just made for a wonderful time to, why not be in that room? We got a great view. It's a resort we all love. This is a wonderful like vacation just being in there.
Yeah, for those of you watching on YouTube right now, I'm showing a video of our view out there at this resort, and that alone was worth it because going out in the morning and checking out that view, or going out in the evening and seeing a little bit of this view, seeing the people doing some people watching, seeing the fireworks from EPCOT at night, the electrical water pageant, as
Mhm.
Michelle mentioned. It was fun. It's great. It's always fantastic to be out there. Just blessed to be getting the chance to stay out at that location and
Mhm.
having
Mhm.
such a wonderful room for sure.
A
Um,
and, you do have the full kitchen there, so you have, a full-size refrigerator, freezer, you have the stove and oven, microwave, you have dishes,
mhm. Yeah, and that's why
service.
we made dinner that night, and then
Yeah,
we brought home a couple things that we had for dessert or whatever
yeah,
from the parks, and that was just very enjoyable.
yeah, and Friday night too, we had
Right.
made dinner there. Mhm.
So the next day we got up, and Scott, as excited he was to be there, maybe he was too excited. He was a little not restless during the night. He
Yeah.
didn't sleep exactly well. So we let him sleep in a little bit. We decided, you know what? let's take an easy day. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead. You know what's great? We can get out to the pool very, very early and get the perfect spot. And so that's what we did. We decided to go out to the pool instead of go out to the parks because the pool at Bay Lake Towers is really nice.
Mhm.
It's not all, it's not it doesn't have all the bells and whistles. It
Right,
has a
right.
nice slide, a couple of fun things. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of some of them, but it's really, really nice. We know the spot where you're going to get a lot of shade,
Right.
which again, after Scott had been in the sun all
Yeah, he
the
was
day,
already pretty red.
he was
Yeah.
starting to get a little red. We wanted to keep him in the shade as much as possible. And we know he'd enjoy a little time out there. So we sat back by the pool, found that perfect spot in the shade, and then it just enjoyed our morning and early afternoon out at the pool.
Yeah, the water was a little chillier than
Mhm.
I would normally think of or want to, and Scott even felt the same way, which was surprising because he's usually one he doesn't care if the water's that cold, but he was the one that actually suggested that he and I go check out the hot tub, and so we did that, which was a lot of fun, and so, yeah, it was just a very relaxing time, and again, I think just felt very vacation-like
Mhm.
for us.
Yeah, very much so. Got a cocktail, sat by the pool, enjoyed it, got to see some people having fun, sit there, some of the sun, some of the shade, and just enjoy our time. Very, very relaxing
Right.
morning. And like I said, early afternoon of that day. Then when we've had about enough, we decided to head back up and kind of get a little time watching some football because it was a Sunday football
Yep.
day. Went up to the room, had a little wine, a little cheese. Scott had some snacks of his own. And then it was time for Michelle and Scott, while I was watching football, to go on another monorail adventure because, again, Scott doesn't need to go to a park. All he needs to do is ride the monorail all day, right,
Oh,
Michelle?
yeah, yeah, he just that's a big attraction for him, is one of his that is his favorite attraction. But, yeah, we, took advantage of the fact that we're right there next to the Contemporary, go up and take a ride there. When we got to the stop at the Poly, he actually was kinda interested in wanting to go there, and so we started just, walking around the property there, which is always beautiful and fun, and, love the shops and the music that's playing and everything. Went by where they have Dole Whip. Surprisingly, that line wasn't long, which because it was a hot day, I was surprised. But he did want a Dole Whip, so we went out there and found that they actually had a seasonal one. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can see it. I don't think the setup this time was perfect. The cast member did a decent job, but it was also very hot, and so things were melting. But this was like a soft serve pumpkin Dole Whip, and then they had the little, Mickey pumpkin ears that was in white chocolate, I think it was. It was very tasty.
Yeah. So what it is the Mickey pumpkin soft serve, which is pumpkin spice soft serve with coconut halpia, caramel drizzle, graham cracker crumbs, and that white chocolate Mickey shaped pumpkin, like you were talking about. Did you enjoy it?
Very much so. I can't say it shouted pumpkin, flavor, but then again, my allergies are acting up, and I don't think I taste flavors quite as strongly, but loved it. It was very refreshing. Scott loved
I was gonna say,
it.
did he love it? That's the
Yes,
key,
it
right?
hit the spot. We sat down and just really enjoyed this together and had a fun time being at the Poly,
Yeah.
having a soft serve there. Yeah.
Then you hop back on the monorail, came back to the Contemporary. I think you did a little shopping, and
Mhm.
then you came back and met me, and then we ended up going back down to the Contempo Cafe
Mhm.
and getting dinner for the night. This was the one night we didn't cook. We instead
Right.
decided to go ahead and pick up something. I got the patty melt. You got a bowl.
Mhm.
And Scott he had chicken and fries,
Yeah.
which, if you know Scott, outside of pepperoni pizza, chicken and fries, or a chicken burger, or fried chicken sandwich
Right.
are some of his favorite things on the planet.
Yeah, he had been asking for it for, since the day we arrived, that he wanted to get that, and so I thought, of course, we have to have him enjoy that at least one time, and it was fun. I mean, it's super convenient because you can mobile order, and then you go pick it up, and, it's right there at the Contemporary Resort, so easy in, easy out, and just made for, again, coming back to the room. and having again that vacation feel.
Yeah.
We're on vacation, staying at a great hotel and having some fun food. It was wonderful.
Yeah. We actually ran into some family that were
Yes.
in there. We knew they were around, but we just randomly ran into them in the lobby and the hallways while we were
Right.
out there.
Yeah, it was ironic timing
Yeah.
that we ran into there. And I also the reason it was kind of fun timing was because I'd gone back to the room while you were waiting for our mobile order to be ready to pick up a pin because I had seen they had the pin board at the Contempo Cafe. I don't know if I've seen that there before, but somebody was actually there holding it and everything, and I saw a pin, and it was really cute, seasonal one, and I asked her to kind of hold on to it. I ran to the room to get my pin, and as I was coming back is when I ran into some family. So it was
Chance.
yeah,
Yeah, we didn't know for sure. We knew that they were going to be around, but we didn't know if our schedules would mesh. That
right.
and just randomly we ran into one another.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
kind of funny.
It was nice to be able to at
Nice.
least say hi.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Even though we were both doing our different things,
right.
it was good, and we got to see them. So yeah, had dinner, settled in, enjoyed a nice evening, saw the fireworks out at Epcot, just enjoyed. Not the fireworks from our resort. We did
Right.
not go back to Epcot.
No,
We
no.
talked about it at one point. We're like, nah, we're good. Watch the fireworks from our room at Epcot. But really, despite having to pivot on that day,
Mhm.
really on the day before, and then doing something different on that day, really, really enjoyable day. The next day was Monday, September 15th. That was our checkout day from the resort. Time to head home. But before we headed home, we did need to get back and try and get to Epcot one more time to try a few things that we didn't get to sample on our first day at Food and Wine, right, Michelle?
Right. We knew since we were staying there through Monday that it would probably be a better opportunity to get food on a weekday. And so we thought this would work out good for us to be
Yes.
able to try more foods.
It was still busier than I think I expected on a Monday morning. I think
Mhm.
some people were kind of hanging out from over the weekend, whatever. Maybe some people thought maybe Monday would be better. Still a little busier than I expected, but not bad. We did get over to Mexico as we had
Mhm.
thought about doing on the Saturday, but we didn't have the opportunity to get over there. And we did get the flauta de barbacoa, which is a fried tortillas filled with barbacoa beef, topped with salsa verde, romaine lettuce, crema mexicana, and queso fresco, and the tostada de carnitas, which is braised pork atop a fried corn tortilla with chipotle black beans, salsa ranchera, crema mexicana, and queso fresco. I also got the strawberry pomegranate margarita, which is 100% agave blanco tequila, joven mezcal, pomegranate liqueur, strawberry puree, and spicy agave. Michelle, what did you think? I know you only just barely tasted the margarita and you weren't a huge fan of
Right.
it. What did you think about the other two dishes?
So they were both great. It's rare that you'll have a disappointment at the Mexico
Mhm.
Pavilion. It was funny because the dish I was expecting to really like and want more was the flautas. However, the tostada was the one that I thought was amazing, amazing. It
Mhm.
was so delicious.
I thought both were fantastic. Again, Mexico rarely misses.
Mhm.
It is so good over there. Maybe it's just because it's a flavor profile that I really, really dearly love, and I think they hit it most of the
Mhm.
times out of the park with them. These were both great dishes. I love both of them. The margarita was okay. I think I definitely liked it more than you did.
Yeah, I wasn't a
I
fan.
thought it was refreshing, but I don't know if I'll go back for it. But I did enjoy it enough that I'm glad I got it and got the chance to sample it. One thing we did not get pictures of here is that you also went over to Australia while I was getting stuff from Mexico. We picked up the grilled bushberry spice shrimp skewer with sweet and sour vegetables and coconut chili sauce, and the roasted lamb chop with mint pesto, crushed salt and vinegar potato chips, and also got the wine flight, which was a Bulletin Place Sauvignon Blanc, a Fowles Farm Table Shiraz, Farm to Table Shiraz, and a Yulumba, the Y Series Viognier. Michelle, what did you think about all those dishes?
Amazing. Australia, each year I have found is so wonderful. I've never been disappointed with the dishes. This year's offerings, except for the dessert, which I wanted to get the pavlova, but I just couldn't carry it at that time, and I figured, well, I'll try it another time we're out here. But it's always good. I thought it was a home run. It was all great. The flight was really wonderful with it as well. Having had both dishes, to be able to have the wine that went appropriately with each of those dishes. It was paired nicely.
Mhm.
Loved it, loved it. Would highly recommend both the Mexico right now and the Australia.
Mhm. I didn't sample the lamb chomp. I left that for Michelle, but I know I've tried it in the past and I've really enjoyed it. I
Mhm.
think it's really, really nice lamb chop. I did try some of the shrimp and I thought it was very, very good. Nice balance of
Mhm.
sweet, sour, spicy. I thought it was excellent.
Right.
Definitely would get that again. And the wine flight was very good and
Mhm.
refreshing and appropriate and went with the dishes
Right.
from that space. Definitely a highlight. I think Australia was really good.
Mhm.
Mexico, Australia, both very good. From there, we had to hit up, because I've been pining for it for a long time, the fry basket. And surprisingly, the line was not tremendously long at the
Mhm.
fry basket. So we were excited. Went over there, got the fry flight, which we've loved in the past, which is the sea salt malt vinegar fries, the truffle parmesan fries with black garlic, truffle aioli, and the sweet potato casserole fries with cinnamon sugar, candy pecans, and marshmallow cream. And we also got a serving of the yuca fries, which also come with a plant-based garlic cilantro aioli. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say right off the bat, I was highly disappointed,
Mhm.
especially as much as I built up the fry basket because I've loved it for years, the last couple of years when we've gone in the past. This year, and again, it could be this day and not the next day. It was a major miss for me because I was so excited for it.
I think, yeah, I agree with you. I think part of the problem, and this is what we alluded to a little earlier in the show, is that the seasoning level. The two, not the sweet one, but the other two were highly salted. It was really tough to even eat them. There was so much salt on them. I think that was a big disappointment. The yuca fries were
The yuca
delicious.
fries were great. They are always
Yeah,
great.
they're
Those
always
were
great.
great again. Yeah.
Yeah. The sweet ones, they were very generous with the marshmallows. So if you like marshmallow, they were pretty generous with that, which was not
A
necessary.
full ice cream scoop of
Yeah,
marshmallow cream on
yeah.
the top. Too much for me.
Right. I won't fault them for that because some people would really like that. So it wasn't like it was bad. We were able to easily pull the majority of them off and just have a nice balance with a little bit of marshmallow on some of these. And I thought those were good. I thought the sweet potato fries were good. But yeah, the other ones were so salty.
Yeah,
I just
agreed.
couldn't
And
even eat them.
it's exactly what as Michelle mentioned, what we were talking about before. Is like, tomorrow you could go out there and they'll be perfect and they'll be the fry basket that you love. And I'm not against going there.
Right.
Now, it may take it a little hesitant. Like, well, we got two of the fry flights, one just
Right.
for Scott to enjoy and one for us to enjoy. Next time, I think I'd get two of the yuca fries
Yeah.
and one of those until I know that they're nailing the spice level or the salt level on those fries. And again, I had built it up so
Right.
much, it was a bit of a disappointment. That's what
Right.
I would say about it.
Well, definitely. I mean, the fact that I really couldn't eat them. Even Scott, who loves salty foods, was not really digging them.
He still powered through them, as did I, but and we both like salt more than
Mhm.
Michelle does. But it was even salty for us. And
Yeah.
and the sweet potato fries, like I said, once you got past, if you took that giant glob of marshmallow cream off of there, those were very good.
Yes.
Those were tasty. I still really, really enjoy them. They're not Scott's thing. He doesn't like sweet fries, French
Right.
fries. But we enjoyed those. But yeah, it was a bit of a miss. But the yuca fries were amazing as
Yes.
always there.
Mhm.
So again, it doesn't dissuade me from going back. We'll just
Sure.
probably
Right.
change our order a little bit the next time we go
Right.
there to check it out. But that was about it. We were full at that point and it's like, you know what? Again, starting to get a little crowded. How much more are we going to put the effort to get in? No, let's go on home and relax and enjoy and call it that we've had an amazing weekend, right, Michelle?
Yeah. I think we had been there a fair amount of time to really enjoy those things without feeling rushed. But yeah, we knew that we could continue some fun at home and just thought this was like a perfect long weekend vacation. And so why not just enjoy that and have a nice ride home?
Yep, that's exactly the way we did it. And we knew also Michelle for sure with Scott will be going back out there and getting to sample a few more things at their leisure. Maybe I'll be able to get out there. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out to Food and Wine again. But if not, that's fine. Michelle will get to give you some more reviews on a few things. when she gets the opportunity. But either way, didn't matter. Even with the crowds at Epcot, even with, some heat and some sun issues or whatever it was, we had an amazing, relaxing, wonderful visit. And it was truly a fun adventure, Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the takeaways from what we're saying with the seasoning is, maybe if you are going with more than one person, rather than sampling multiples of the same dishes, maybe first try one of each dish and see if they're hitting, and then you can
Hmm.
go back for more so that you're not feeling like, oh, I got all this food and it's just not quite
Hmm.
hitting it.
Yeah, it's probably
But
a good point. Michelle does always have the best tips. So should probably listen to her on that. So
But yeah, as you said, it was just really a wonderful long weekend vacation.
overall, many of the dishes we ate at Food and Wine, pretty darn good. We
Mhm.
enjoyed them. Really enjoyed the last verse. And boy, did we enjoy the refurbishment of Bay Lake Towers. I think that pretty much sums up our
Yeah.
weekend, September Walt Disney World adventure. Michelle.
Yeah, I would just add also that, seasonal Dole Whip offering was also
That's soft
pretty.
serve, yes.
Yeah, that
I
was
don't really call
also
it a Dole Whip. It's not really a Dole Whip.
right,
It's a
it's soft serve,
but
yeah.
yes,
At that, at that location, it was really
really good. So there it is. That was our September Walt Disney World adventure.